Good morning. We are joined here today by head women's water polo coach Beto Vazquez. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning, Bo. Thank you for having me.
Also have to add not just the women's water polo team, but also the head coach for the men's water polo team. But we're going to spend this morning talking about the
Correct.
women's and their amazing 6-0 start. Let's get started. Coach, was there anything at the beginning of the year that you saw or that you felt that this team was going to come out of the gates this strong?
I think what something that we foreshadowed was just the level of talent on this team and the level of experience that we have. Um, our recruiting, right, has been on point the last couple of years, and now in my fourth year as a head coach, we're kind of reaping the fruits of the labor because now we have athletes, at least a half a dozen players who have been playing the last 4, 5, 6 years, not just locally here, but also regionally and nationally. Some of them have experience playing at the junior Olympic level, so it's really great to have this level of talent come together.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that. I'm glad you brought that up. As we all know, well, everyone in athletics know that when COVID hit, it affected a lot of programs. And having known some of the water programs around issues with player recruitment, player retention, you have 17 players on your roster at Mesa, and that's an amazing thing. How were you able to build such a great team and quality players, right? And now again, leading the PCAC with a 6-0 start. How did you develop that?
That's a great question, right? I guess I'll answer like in a three-pronged way, right?
Okay.
First, it was consistent communication with the recruits when they were still in school and high school before they came to Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping tabs with them, making sure that I was following up with them, making sure that they were doing good in school, checking in with them to let them know that I was still thinking about them, that they weren't strangers to me. Also, just the promotion of our athletics program and our school as a whole, right? Like we're one of the strongest academic junior colleges in California. We're very proud
Mm-hmm.
of that. The fact that we have lots of financial aid available to our student athletes, not just the Promise program, but Mesa does a great job of promoting financial aid to our student athletes. And then just preaching San Diego, right? Like we are a water polo town. We're an aquatic city. We have always been there. And so I focused on recruiting high quality athletes, not just from San Diego, but also the surrounding counties, Orange County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, all the way up to LA County. So it was hours of work in making sure that these athletes felt that they were special to me and that I wanted them. And this is
Mm-hmm.
them just trusting me with their option on their collegiate career. So it was a approach that took a lot of effort up front, but it's really come to fruit now.
Absolutely, and like you said, it's important to have that support staff, and that's one of the amazing things that Mesa does provide is not just obviously quality coaches like yourself, but also the previous coaches that were there before, whether it was Nate, whether it was Jim that handled
Right.
all the aquatics, and including the facility, right? You
Correct.
gotta have the facility, and also doesn't hurt that you are in San Diego, which is a really good selling point. Let's talk about a couple of players. Naomi Jenkins is off to a great start. Had a
Yes.
wonderful game, including that game-winning goal. I believe it was 56 seconds left. What makes her special? Well, let me add to that as well, because we also have to talk about Rivas and Barraza. Tell me what separates these players. Why are they playing well, and tell me a little bit more about them.
Naomi Jenkins is a very special individual. I think what really makes her stand out is her inner drive and her ambition and her desire to be a very good water polo player. She loves the game, and the passion that she has for the game shows not just on the pool deck during the games, but also during practice. Right?
Uh-huh.
She's one of the ones that goes the hardest. She's one of the ones that pushes the rest of her teammates to do well. So it's just she's a creature of habit. She works hard. She studies hard. She shows up to practice to do go hard. So she plays hard, right? And that kind of inspires the teammates around her, right? She's one of the older athletes. So athlete like Lily Barraza, she's one of our returning sophomores. Daniela Rivas, she's actually an incoming freshman. Both of them are off to a really hot start offensively. They have a lot of experience and they have a water polo background, a swimming background,
Yeah.
but they're very driven players. Those two individuals love the game just as much as Naomi Jenkins does. So what makes them great players is that they have such a love for the sport and such a drive to be a better player that pushes them to become better and to always be better.
Absolutely. Hey, we have to talk a little bit about the defense, and I like to ask this with coaches because you have obviously in water polo an offensive side and a defensive side.
Correct.
With the exception of, I believe it was Cyprus, the only team to have scored double digits on you guys. Everyone else has been held in single digits. Tell me a little bit more about the philosophy of your defense. What kind of a defense is it? And also, is there a separation between the two? Is one side playing better than the other, or are they about even?
I would say that one feeds the other. That's kind of like the philosophy that I preach here on our women's water polo team. As someone who is very strong-minded when it comes to defense, I tell the girls defense wins championships.
Sure.
Obviously, we need to score and we need to put points on the board to win the game. But I tell the girls, our defense feeds our offense. Our defense influences our offense, right? So if we have a strong defensive front, we will have a better opportunity on offense, right? Water polo is like basketball where players play offense and defense back and forth. There is no separation by line. And I'm a firm believer that if we're able to have a strong defensive front and we're able to pressure the opponent and force bad decisions, then that energy is gonna feed our counterattack, which will then feed into our offense. So if we have an explosive defense, we're gonna have an explosive offense. So the scores reflect that right now so far, right? We are starting off focusing a lot on defense, and we are slowly introducing more and more offense to it. It's just by the time we get to November in the conference championship, I feel we're going to be a very well-rounded team where there isn't going to be one as stronger than the other. It's just going to be a very strong group of girls, a group of women who'll be able to play both sides of the ball. That's what I think is going to happen.
Absolutely. It's a great point. In any sport, mind you, right? And particularly in water polo, where, both sides kind of do feed off of each other, right? Because you can't have one or the other. And maybe in different type of sports, you can kind of outperform the other. I mean, come to think of it, for example, if you have a high-powered offense in the NFL, that can sometimes hide the lack of a defense. But I think in water polo, like you said, it's got to go hand in hand. We are joined here today again by Beto Vazquez, head women's water polo and men's water polo head coach, off to a great start at 6-0 and leading the PCAC. Two tournaments coming up this Friday and Saturday. West Valley College for the West Valley Invitational. Coach, what must this team keep doing in order to be successful? We're 5-0. It's early in the season. What do we need to keep doing? And also, second part of that question, with this strong start, we're obviously in contention for the conference. What's the overall goal for the team?
I think for us to continue doing what we're doing so far is to have great practices, right? The numbers are probably our strongest point this year for our women's water polo team. I mean, yes, the success of a 6-0 and having a strong front line or what we call a starting group is very important, but our numbers are what makes our group so strong, right? If we only had 10 girls, our practices would be limited to what we have with 10 girls. But by having 17 girls, by having 3 goalies in rotation, we can have game situation practices the majority of the week instead of just doing drills and half-court stuff. So that's really important thing, that our number and our high numbers are our biggest strength. 17 girls is something to be very proud about. And, we to go off the old cliche saying, right, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And we have a very strong chain, a very, very strong chain of 17 strong individuals. So that's probably what's going to have to continue to keep going, is that everybody shows up, nobody gets sick, right? Everybody stay on top of their academics, everybody stay on top of their individual health and their own personal side, and then to make sure that we have consistent practices so we can push each other through the end of the season. And, our goals aren't limited to just the conference championship. Yes, we want that every single year, right? And then now going into my 4th year, I'm still waiting for that opportunity to be crowned a conference champion. But this year, we have hopes and dreams beyond that. I mean, we would love to be the automatic bid into SoCal regionals, and we would love the opportunity to go into the state championship. So that's really what we're aiming for right now, is beyond conference championships, a SoCal title, and an opportunity to win a state title.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I thank you for your time today. Again, off to a great start at 6-0, Friday the 16th versus Modesto at West Valley College. Also versus Delta College at the LA Valley College Mini. And then on Saturday at the West Valley Invitational, we'll be playing against West Valley at 10:20 a.m., followed by Foothill at 12:40 p.m.
Correct.
Coach Beto, I appreciate your time. Looking forward to the amazing things that you're going to continue to do. All right, the both programs are in great hands, and let's go make some noise and let's go get them.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Bill, for the time. I appreciate it.